to help the viewers at home that might not know a lot about politics.
Yeah, explain the whole process briefly.
Okay, well, at the lowest level of politics, we have what's called the precinct. And the precinct is the smallest level of government. It's the neighborhood level. So at the neighborhood level, what you do is you go out to your precinct caucus. So each little neighborhood or Senate district is divided into precincts, and each precinct has a delegation process where they'll send a number of people to represent their precinct to the next level. So the precinct caucus will send people to their BPOU convention. That's called the Basic Political Organizational Unit. Now that represents the smallest units of government, and that's where our representatives to the state house come from. They come from the BPOU level.
And as far as being a delegate, that basically just means you're a representative of, or a potential leader for the precinct. Then when you're a delegate of your precinct and then a delegate of your BPOU, or onward to the higher districts, the higher levels, that just is an indicator that you're kind of working your way up into the larger influential realms of the party.
You can think of it as almost a multiplier. So at each level, you're really representing maybe 10 times more people. So at the precinct level, you represent only yourself and you cast a vote for the delegate at the next level. But that delegate, now when he's at the BPOU convention, maybe represents 50 people. So, and then as you move up to the Congressional District, now maybe you're representing 500 or maybe even 5,000 people. So each time you move up, you're representing more and more people, and your voice is getting progressively stronger. As you cast your vote, you'll have a progressively larger voice.
And that's in the realm of the party.
That's correct.
You're not representing people on referendums or law.
Well, partially though, because what you're doing is you're influencing the party's platform. So in a lot of cases, what you're doing is you're voting to say, well, we want such and such action, and we want a particular issue to be brought up within the party, and these party platform items are supposed to be binding for the people that get elected as representatives. If you get represented as a Republican or a Democrat, you're supposed to follow the party platform, the party line.
When I think of a representative in the way that I perceive it, to me, my representative, whether it be to the state or the city council or Washington, D.C., it's the individual who will speak on my behalf when decisions need to be made. Assuming that's how you also see your role as a representative, and if you don't, let us know how you see it differently. Why do you want to be that person?
As a state representative, I feel it's a form of servant leadership. So when you represent your neighborhood, what you're really doing is you're representing the neighborhood at the state level, and you're doing this in the form of a leader who is working actively on behalf of the neighborhood, acting on behalf of your neighbors, so that way you're trying to influence state politics in such a way that it helps the state and also helps to better the community that you live in. So it's really a form of representation for the neighborhood at a level of leadership that's intended to help and intended to bring about positive change in the community.
And what change when you walk, if you're comfortable, where do you live?
In North Minneapolis.
Okay, and that is house, section, or district, or precinct?
Well, the state is divided up into about 140 different precincts.
Okay.
That's about how many there are. And I live in the Senate District 58.
Okay.
I'm running for the north half side of that Senate District, so that's called Senate District 58A. That's North Minneapolis.
And that's the House seat that you're running for?
That's correct.
You're running for the House of Representatives, not for the state Senate?
Right, the State House of Representatives.
Okay. And when you walk around your neighborhood, what are some of the changes? What are some of the, when you take a broad view of, the corners and the intersections and, you know, the avenues and the streets and the houses and the parks and the whatever, the businesses. What are some, you know, what are some changes you'd like to see made there, and maybe, well, let's just start with in your neighborhood specifically.
Sure. I think one of the most important things that we need to address in this coming election, and in particular, is accountability in government. I think in a lot of ways, we've seen government enact policies without an eye towards the long term, without an eye towards the details. And one of the manifestations of that has been the home foreclosure crisis that we've seen. This was largely the case of rule changes that have been enacted by our legislators, saying that they wanted to promote more home ownership by removing barriers to home ownership. Well, when that happened, what we got was a bunch of people that signed up for mortgages that they couldn't really afford. And when that happened, and when interest rates started to rise with these mortgage vehicles, as they call them, it ended up that a lot of people got caught up in this mortgage crisis, and a lot of people lost their homes. Now, some of this is due to investors who overextended themselves. Some of it was due to people that signed up for mortgages that they didn't